Is it like a day? Is it daylight or is it still night? Like that kind of weather. But I don't know, something about it felt right. And I said, you know what? It's not my weather. Like for me, Caribbean weather is way, way nicer
Right.
when it's rainy. Um, but it feels good. It feels like this is where I'm supposed this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's going to be a good experience for like, let's say 18 months, 2 years. The kids will pick up some English. Um, and so we did it and we ended up staying.
One second. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Um, okay, so you're in the States, you get to Portland, it's all great. Um, what did you do when you first came here? Was it just your husband working or?
Yeah, I wasn't able to legally work back then. So I was a stay-at-home mom. I was taking care of business, settling down, finding us a place to live,
Which is a lot of work in
and
itself.
getting familiar, play dates,
How did
getting to
you
know
feel
the
about that?
I loved every moment. Like seriously, my life was instantly upgraded the moment we moved here.
Yeah.
I finally had a social life I didn't have before. Before, the social life that I had was going every afternoon to the playground and meeting with like other moms while the kids are playing. That's not a social life as far as you know me. That's not how I consider social life. I mean, that's fine for the kids to, to get some energy going out. Uh, but I didn't have much social life. Like on
Mm-hmm.
the weekends, you go and see the family, and then like so moving here, immediately like found other Israelis. We went out for drinks, for dinners. We had people coming over. We like people invited us,
Mm-hmm.
going out for hikes, for picnics, all the lakes. The scenery here is amazing. So I felt like my life is like 100 times better in that
Yeah.
sense. And then when I got the permit to work,
Mm-hmm.
I started to look for a job. And obviously, as an engineer, I started to look for things like Intel and like all these kind of companies around here. And then one person told me, Liat, you shouldn't go and look for an engineering job. You're a nutritionist. Do something about it. I wasn't a nutritionist. I was very enthusiastic about nutrition
Yeah.
and diet, but how dare she? How do you know how long it takes to become an engineer? Do you know how much effort? How dare she? So after 2 weeks, I was like, why shouldn't I become a nutritionist? Like that's a real passion of mine. And I just signed up I applied for a master degree.
Wow.
And the rest is history. Here we are.
Wow. That's a nice story. I didn't know what to expect because my okay, in my head, so when I was an engineer too, I did electronics engineering. And but before that, before I moved to Oregon and everything, I went through that harsh life in Washington. But my life always steadily climbed, you know. But the people who I was in Washington with, it felt like they just stayed in the same place the whole time. There's only one other person who I know was like constantly moving. She was in nursing, but it felt like they stayed in the same place the whole time. And so I always wondered, like, you see a lot of foreigners who come here, and we are not everybody, okay? I can't conclude everybody into this, but it's almost like we have a whole different drive, a whole different success level, or like you're steadily climbing. That hunger is always there, and we're always trying to make life better. And I was curious, like, I'm gonna just say it, and this might sound not that great, but what what makes the difference between us and them? Because in my head, I'm like, you've been here this long, you have all the same opportunities as me. Why are you still here?
I've read a not read. I actually listened to. I saw a reel on Facebook a couple of days ago. It was in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy there that was talking about King David and King Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
A different, like, what's the mutual thing for both of them? They
Yeah.
both wrote books, right?
Mm-hmm.
One wrote Tehillim. I don't know how to say it in English.
Psalms.
I don't
Tehillim.
know. Tehillim, yeah.
Yeah.
And Solomon wrote Kohelet.
I don't know what Kohelet is in English. I just know Psalms.
Um, both of them are part of the old
In the Old Testament.
yeah. Anyway, if you've ever read Tehillim, you see that there's a lot of, and this is what the guy said, right? It's not my original idea.
Okay.
Said you see that King David really appreciated everything outside, like the trees, the sky, like the nature, the beauty and he saw the beauty in everything.
Yeah.
King Solomon, Kohelet, there was a lot of boredom. Like everything is the same, nothing new under the sun is from that book.
Yeah.
And Chadash Tachat Hashemesh.
Oh, it's crazy how when you say it in Hebrew, it just pops right into my head. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, a lot of boredom. Now,
Mm.
the biggest difference is that King David came from nothing. He was a sheep herder, right?
Yeah.
He came from nothing. So it was very easy for him to appreciate everything that he
Everything.
grew into.
Mm-hmm.
King Solomon had the kingdom from birth. He
Right.
had everything on the palm of his hand from day one, from
Mm.
day zero. So he wasn't impressed much by anything.
Anything.
And you asked what's the difference between us immigrants who came from a much restricted environment
Yeah.
versus those who just grew up like that and like, okay, like I think us moving from restriction to like, oh, there are
Freedom.
so many opportunities. What do I, how do I take advantage of, not take advantage in the
I know.
negative way, but like, oh, I
I
can
do
grow in so
everything.
many areas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
I'm happy I asked you that question because you just answered it so beautifully. How can anybody be insulted? Even though like this video is not to really care anyway. But I love how you answered that.